Hello everyone. So previously we had successfully designed a file uploader utility, right? So today we are asked to design a payment gateway integration, right? So let's see what the question states here, and then we can just go with the elaboration, right? So this one, collecting the functional as well as the non-functional requirements accordingly with the question. Yep. First, let's see what the question states here. Design a simple payment gateway integration system that supports multiple payment methods, whether it may be card, UPI, as well as the wallet processes transactions concurrently. So this one also we have to keep in mind. Processes transactions concurrently and maintains an in-memory transaction. We don't have to go with any this one external databases or external database here. So as we are going with a single file CLI demo, we can just go with the in-memory transaction log using this one strategy design pattern, using the strategy design pattern without using any external database, So let's go with the question again. Design a simple payment gateway integration system that supports multiple payment methods such as cards, UPI, wallet, that processes transactions concurrently and maintain an in-memory transaction log using the strategy design pattern without using any external database. Yeah, let's do one thing. Now we have the idea on the question. Let's do one thing. Let's collect the functional as well as the non-functional requirements, right? So then we can just move on with the further steps actually. Yep. So first let's collect the functional as well as the non-functional requirements here. So first, let's go with the functional requirements. The first requirement here is users should be able to initiate a payment for an order. Quite obviously, right? User should be able to initiate a payment for an order. The second one is the system should support multiple payment nodes, whether it may be credit card, whether it may be UPI, it may be wallet, right? So the system should support multiple payment nodes. Yep. So this is one of the things. Next, the third requirement here is payment gateway should verify and confirm payment success or failure. Again, payment gateway should verify and confirm payment success or failure. Yep. So this is also one of the requirement actually. Let's move on with the fourth one. Generate and store a transaction record. So we should be able to generate and store a transaction record. The final one here would be return a final payment status to the user. Return a final payment status to the user, right? So then let's go with a non-functional requirement. Non-functional requirements. The first one is system should be modular, easily extensible to add new gateways. So to successfully add the new gateways in the future, system should be modular, easily extensible, right? So it must simulate the concurrency. When I say it must simulate the concurrency or the requirement, it is nothing but we have to go with the thread safe operations that we have to keep in mind. Yeah. So the third one, it should work without any external DB, right? In the sense we will be going with a or we should go with the in-memory data model. Right. So the final one here is it must provide clear logs for the demo as well as the debugging. So this is fine. It's related to the logs actually. Yep. So this is fine. Next, let's do one thing. As we have collected the requirements and we have this one discussed the question as well. Let's go with the algorithm choice, right? So the best algorithm that I thought for this particular one, accordingly with the requirements and the question is, we will be going with a strategy design pattern, right? So we will be going with a strategy design patterns. If you don't know the strategy design pattern, so we have discussed certain patterns under design patterns playlist. Actually, you can just go to the design patterns playlist and you can just watch the video and come back, right? So you'll be knowing what is strategy design pattern. So while writing the code, it will be very easy to understand if you know the design patterns as well as the solid principles. See here. And one more thing, we will be choosing the strategy design pattern to handle multiple payment modes dynamically, right? So we'll be making use of we'll be going with the multiple payment modes, right? So for that purpose, we will be choosing or we will be going with strategy design pattern, right? So the second one here is this approach ensures open work closed principle. So if you don't know open closed principle, there is a playlist called solid principles, oops, and the solid principles. In that I have explained open and closed principle, right? So I can just watch the video and you can come back. You'll understand this one even clear and quickly, right? So this is fine. Next, after the algorithm choice, we will be discussing about the concurrency and the data model. About the data model, so we will be going with the in-memory storage because we are going with a single file CLI demo, right? So that is the reason we'll be going with the in-memory storage using the Python dictionaries, using the Python dictionaries, right? About the concurrency, so concurrency is simulated using the logs, right? So concurrency is simulated using the logs, meaning, so we will be going with the thread safe transaction updates, not to worry, right? So the final one is thread lock ensures atomic transaction updates. Yeah, this is fine. Yep. So next, we have this one, discuss the main things here, concurrency and the data model along with the algorithm choice. What the algorithm that what algorithm that will be making use of to write the code, right? So now we can this one we can move on with a UML diagram. I have successfully this one designed an UML diagram. We can just discuss on that, right? So based on the concurrency model and the algorithm choice, concurrency and the data model and the algorithm choice, I have designed a UML diagram. Let's discuss on the same actually. So first thing, we will be making use of the this one main class, or the base class would be the payment gateway, right? So we are designing the payment gateway integration itself, right? So we will be going with a payment gateway, this one class, base class actually. So within that we will be making use of the two parameters. One is strategy and another one is pay which consists of the mode, amount and ID, and strategies which consists of the this one which is of the type dictionary, right? So this is fine. So we will be going with card payment class, UPI payment and the wallet payment. All the this one classes actually consists of the process payment method. So we are going with the strategy pattern, right? So just remember this. We are going with the strategy pattern if you don't understand. So we are making use of the process payment within the card payment, UPI payment, and the wallet payment class. Actually, the base class is payment gateway, which consists of the two parameter strategies, the dictionary that I have mentioned here, and pay, which consists of mode, amount, as well as the ID. So this is method. This is not the parameters actually. So this is the parameter strategies, and this one pay. This is the method actually, which consists of the mode, amount, and ID parameters. So this is fine, I believe. Yep. Now, accordingly, with the you can just pause the video and have a look into it. The UML diagram I'm speaking of, right? The same thing will be articulating in the form of code. We'll be adding the logic to the methods, and we'll be making use of the parameters as well, along with the same class names and the same methods, right? So you can just pause the video and have a look into it. Now, let's do one thing. We have already designed the UML diagram and we have discussed what is needed actually, mainly the algorithm choice, concurrency, and the data model. It's good time to write the code. Let's start writing the code. So let's continue with the coding part here. First, we need threading for the concurrency actually. I'll just go with the threading. Also, let me go with the random. Yep. Also, we need time here, right? So let me import these three things. This is fine. First, let's go with a abstract strategy, right? We are going with a strategy design pattern. Let's go with the abstract strategy. So I'll just go with your class. Let me go with payment strategy. Yep. So this is fine, I believe. So within the payment strategy class, first let me go with a method process payment actually. I'll just go with process payment. Yep. So this is fine, I believe. So within the process payment method, I'll just go with amount. Along with the self, I need amount and transaction ID. Yep. Transaction ID. Yep. So this is fine. So within the process payment method, I'll just give you a pass. That's enough actually. We are just going with a process payment method. So we need process payment under payment strategy, card payment, as well as the UPI payment, this one wallet payment as well. These three methods consist of the process payment itself accordingly with the UML diagram, right? So we are going with the strategy design pattern. So this is fine. First, let's go with the concurrent strategy, right? So this is just the abstract strategy, right? So now let's go with the concrete strategies here. So I'll just go with your class. Let me go with card payment here, card payment of, let me pass the payment strategy. Yeah. So let me go with payment strategy. Yep. So what is this thing here? It's not defined. Huh? We have defined this one, right? So for now, let me do one thing. Oh, sorry. This one I have to move this one here. Now the error will be gone. Yeah. Yep. So this is fine. First, again, the same thing. Def. So I'll just go with the process payment here. Yep. So the same thing. Self. This one self amount transaction ID remains same. So I don't have to return anything here. Let's print something for the interactive purpose here. So I'll just go with return. What we need to return? Let me return certain things for the interactiveness, right? So I'll just go with here card. Let me go with a card here. Also, let me pass the card. So why we haven't considered card here? 1 second. Oh, I have to keep this one within square. Sorry. Yep, card. Let me go with transaction here. Card transaction. Let me pass the transaction ID. This one transaction ID is fine. Let me go with this one processing. So this is fine. Let me get the rupee symbol from the Google. I'll be making use of the rupee symbol. I'll just get it that one from the Google. Just give me a second here. Yep. So let me do one thing. Let me paste this one over here. I'll just pass the amount. So this is also fine via credit card, credit or debit card. Yeah. So this is fine as well. So this is it actually. 1 second. Just give me a second here. So yeah. Now let's do one thing. We have imported time, right? So I'll just go with here 1 second. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah. Let me go with time dot sleep. This has to show. Yep. Sleep. Let me set this one to the 1. Yep. So this is fine. Next, let's print something for the interactiveness again. So I'll just go with F here. As we'll be making use of the string interpolation, let me give card transaction. So this is fine. Yep, let me pass the transaction ID as well. So I'll just go with the transaction ID. So this one will be payment successful. Yep, payment successful. Yep, so this is fine, I believe. Next, we are done with this part actually. Next, let me go with the payment integration. Sorry, UPI payment method, right? So let me copy the same thing actually. And let me paste this one over here and make the necessary changes. So this one will be UPI, sorry, payment actually. We will be making use of the abstract strategy. This is fine. I have called payment this one strategy here, the main one, abstract strategy. This one it's fine. Inside that one, we are going with a process payment, same thing. Self amount transaction ID. This remains same. Return. So we are going with the instead of the card, we will be going with a UPI here, right? UPI transaction. So this is fair transaction ID. So this remains same processing or a UPI transaction instead of the processing. Let's go with a paying actually here, right? I'll just go with a paying rupee amount. So this is fine via instead of the debit card or credit card, I'll just give here UPI, right? So this is the change. This is the only change. Time dot sleep of 1. This remains same actually, and print f. So this remains same. Instead of the card, I'll just give UPI here. Transaction ID, payment successful. This remains same. Again, let me come here and let me paste this one once again. So instead of the card payment, I'll just go with wallet payment. Yep. So this remains same. The method remains same as well along with the parameters. So instead of the card here, let me go with wallet. Wallet transaction ID. So instead of processing, I'll just go with deducting. Right. So I'll just go with deducting rupees amount. So this remains same. Instead of via credit or debit card, I'll just go with from wallet actually from wallet. So this is fine. Time dot sleep of 1. This is fine. Print if this one instead of card, let me go with the wallet. This one transaction. So this is fine. Transaction ID, let me pass this one. Payment successful. This is also fine. Yep. Next, let's do one thing. I'll just go with a context, right? So let's go with a payment gateway class. So I'll just go with class. Let me go with payment gateway. So this is the main class actually, or the base class actually. Let me make this one capital G, payment gateway. So this is fine. Within the payment gateway class, first let's go with the initialization part. I'll just go with dev init. So let me remove this one along with the self. I don't need anything, I believe. So here I'll just go with self dot strategies, self dot strategies. So within this, I'll just go with the card first. So this is fine. Let me pass the card payment here, right? So this one first, we have to pass the card payment. For the card, for the UPI, we have to go with the UPI payment, and for the wallet, we will be going with the wallet payment, right? So this, let me copy the same thing here. Yep. So this is fine. Instead of the card, let me go with UPI here. Yeah. So here, instead of the card payment, I'll just go with a UPI payment. So this is fine, I believe. Yep. So instead of the card again, let me go with a wallet here. So this is fine. Instead of the card payment, let me call the wallet payment method here. Right. So this is fine, man. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Let me come out of this one entirely. Now let me initialize the transactions. Yeah. This has to show not showing. Okay. Transactions. Let me set this one. And also let me go with a threading dot lock, right? So let me initialize this one to threading dot lock. This has to show. Yep, this is fine. Yep. So inside the payment gateway class, main class actually, let's do one thing. 1 second. So this one, sorry, yeah, here one mistake I have done. Instead of the print, I have given return here everywhere. So that is the reason it's not visible at all actually. So let me change this one to print here as well. And also let me change this one to print. Yep. So this was the mistake, I believe. Yep. So now it's correctly visible. So that is the reason it was showing somewhat dim, right? So this is fine. Yep. Now let's move on with the further things actually. The first method that we'll be making use of here is this one, pay, right? The only method we'll be going with, or the first method we'll be making use of here is pay actually, as we are dealing with a strategy design pattern, right? So I'll just go with def pay of, I'll just go with self mm, mode as well as the amount, right? Again, let me tell you one thing. If you are not understanding how we are writing the code, what's the designing pattern, let me tell you one thing. So I have just go to the design patterns playlist and watch the video regarding the strategy design pattern, and then you can just come back, right? Strategy, and I insist you to watch the state design pattern as well, both the patterns, and then come back, right? So you'll understand how we are writing the code, why we are writing in this way. And also in the solid principles, you can just watch the video open or close principles, right? So this actually satisfies the open and close principle actually. Yep, you can just watch these three videos and you can come, so that you understand what we are writing clearly, right? In a crystal clear way, right? So this is fine. Let's continue with the same. I'll just go with the transactions ID here. So let me go with the transactions ID or transaction ID. So let me go with here random, but I'll just go with a random int. This one, let me pass between 1000 to 9,999. Yep. So random number we are considering, right? Transaction ID between 1000 to 9,999. Yep. 9,999. So this is fine. Let's go with a print just for the interactiveness. So I'll just go with here slash n. So this is fine. Let me give here gateway initiating. So what shall I give here? Initiating transaction. Yeah, this will be good actually. This is relevant. This is relevant actually. Transaction. So this is fine. Let me pass the transaction ID. Yep. So let me pass the transaction ID. So this is fine. Via this one. I'll just go with mode dot upper actually. This has to show, not showing dot upper. Right. So this is fine. Yep. So this is fine. Have to close this one. Yep. One thing here. Yeah, this is fine actually. Next step, let me go with a simple if condition. If let me go with the mode, this is fine. Not done. Let me go with the strategies actually. Let me go with the strategies. Yep. So within the if condition, first let me go with the print statement. So here print, I'll just go with the, let me go with the gateway here. Let me go with the gateway. Invalid payment mode actually. Invalid payment mode. So this is fine. Yep. The next final part, we have to exit from here. So I'll just give return and let me exit from here. Right. So the next thing, let's go with the lock here. Let me go with lock. So what we will be doing here, one second. Hmm, what shall we do here? What shall we do here? What shall we do here? Let's do one thing. Hmm, one second. Yeah, first let's go with the transactions here. Not lock self actually. It's just lock actually. Yep. So this is fine. So within the lock, so first I'll just go with the transactions here. This is fine. Of let me pass the transaction ID. This is also fine. And let me assign this one to the this one. First, let me consider amount and let me pass the amount here. So this is fine. And let me go with the status. Let me go with status and let me pass here pending. Yeah, so this is also fine. Yep. So next, let's do one thing. Let's go with a process payment via selected strategy. Right. So I'll just do one thing. Let me go with self dot strategies. Yep. So this is fine. Let me pass the mode. But let me call the process payment here. Let me type this one as this is not showing. Yeah. I'll just call the process payment here. So this is fine. Let me go with the amount as well as transaction ID. So let me pass the transaction ID. So this is fine. Then let's do one thing. We're done with this part. So we have to safely update the status to success post processing, right? So again, let me go with the lock here. Yep, as we are going only, as we are dealing with only in memory, right? So we are not going with any external databases. Let's go with a lock actually. I'll just go with cell dot again transactions here. This has to show. Let me pass the transactions ID as well. Yep, so this is fine. Also, let me give here status. Yep, so this is also fine. Let me set this one to the success. Let me set this one to the success. Yep. Now let's do one thing. I'll just go with a print. Yep. So I'll just go with F followed by we are dealing with this one, right? So what do we call uh, gateway? Let me go with a transaction. Let me go with a transaction. I'll just go with the transaction ID here. Yeah, let me pass the transaction ID here. Completed. Yeah, completed. So this is fine, I believe. Yep. So I'll just go with slash. Hmm. Now we are done with the coding part actually. So this is the only method. Yeah. So this is fine. We have successfully written the code for this, and let's go with the example usage or the demo usage, right? So I'll just take that one from the Google. Just give me a second here. So let me paste this one over here. First, what we are doing, we are just creating this one payment this one gateway instance here by calling the payment gateway class actually, right? So this is the main class or the base class, right? So this is fine. Next, we are simulating the multiple this one concurrent payments using the threads actually, threading dot thread. So this one pay arguments card. First, we are going with a card, and we are going with 2,500 rupees here. Second, we are going with UPI, and we are going with 999 rupees. So third one, we are going with a valid payment and we are going with 1,500 rupees. So this is fine, I believe. Next, what we are doing, we're starting all the transactions simultaneously, right? So we are just going with T1 dot start, T2 dot start, and T3 dot start, right? So we have to wait until all the threads complete. So we are just going with T1 dot join, T2 dot join, and T3 dot join. So this is fine. So then what we are doing, we are printing all the final transaction logs after completion, right? So we're just printing here. Within the print, we're just going with final transaction logs within the strings, and we are calling the transactions, right? So we're just calling the transactions here, right? So this is fine. So let's see. Now we have this one. Discuss the entire code that we have written. Let me run the code and let's discuss the output part after running the code, right? So I'll just give here Control J, give clear screen. Let me enlarge this one. Let me give Python followed by the file name.py. Yep. So here we are getting the C here. 1 second. 1 second. Just give me a second here. Did I miss anything? No, right? Hmm. First thing, we are initializing the transaction 2743 with the card actually. So 1 second. So let's do one thing. Let me run this one. I'll just give me a second here. How did I run this one? Let me clear screen and let me run this one again. So yeah, initializing transaction, this one transaction ID, this one. First, we are getting via card transaction ID 364 to processing rupees 2500 as we have used 2500 rupees here, right? So this is fine via credit or debit card. Next, initializing transaction 3370 transaction ID varies here every time we run because we are just considering the random number between 1000 to 9999 actually. Somewhere here random we considered, right? So I'll just leave here Control F random. So yeah, so this is fine. 1 second. Where just go with the random completely, man. Yeah, here see random it between 1000 to 9999, right? So here see initializing transaction ID 9870 via wallet. Second, we are going with a UPI actually. UPI we have considered the amount. 1 second. Let me close this one. 999 actually. Yep. So here transaction via wallet, transaction paying 999 via UPI, deducting 1500 from the wallet, transaction 9870 payment successful. Yeah, transaction 3370 payment successful. So we are getting completed and completed. So this one 9870 belong belongs to the this one actually wallet, and 3370 belongs to the UPI actually. Yep. So this is fine. This one 3370. So this one belongs to the this one actually debit card and the credit card, right? So this is fine, I believe. Uh, Sorry, this one belongs to the UPI as well, right? Initiating transaction, this one, this part, and 3642 transaction 3642. So this one belongs to the debit or credit card, processing rupees 2500 via debit or credit card. ID transaction ID 3642, right? So here this one also payment successful. This one is related to the wallet as well as the UPI payment successful we have got here and also completed, right? Transaction completed. So this is payment successful via debit and the credit card actually. 3642 belongs to this one itself via card actually, right? So transaction 3642 also completed. These three, all the transactions are completed. Now see the final transaction logs here. 3642 amount 2500 status success. We are getting the success, right? Success of this one status success actually. 3370 this one UPI actually, right? Amount 999 status success, and this one amount 1500 we are getting. So this is related to the this one, what do we call, mm, is this wallet actually. Yep. So here status again success. All the three we are getting status success. So whatever the code that we have written works absolutely correct actually. We are getting the desired output, right? So we are getting the desired output accordingly with the code that we have written, right? So I hope whatever the code that we have written is completely clear, bro. So whatever the code that we have written works absolutely correct. We are getting the desired output, right? So we have made use of the strategy design pattern here, right? So this is fine, I believe. Now, as we have completely discussed the coding part along with the output part, let's move on with the further things. Let's move on with the limitations for the code that we have written. Yep. So now let's move on with the limitations of the for the current code. So basically it lacks retry mechanism or this one timeout handling. Yep, it does lack actually. Just give me a second here. 1 second. Yep, it lacks retry mechanism or the timeout handling. So this is one of the limitation. The second one is no actual third-party API integration. We are not going with any third-party API integration, right? So this is just the mock simulation, right? So this is one of the limitation as well. The third one, transaction records reset every run. Yeah, that I have shown you, right? Transaction ID every time we run, it will be different, right? So transaction records reset every this one every run because we are going with the in memory only, not only transaction ID, entire transaction, right? So it's in memory only. We are not making use of any external database, right? So transaction records reset every run. The fourth one is no fraud detection or refund system implemented yet. So we are just going with a simple this one. What do we call payment gateway integration, right? So this one for the it's single file CLI demo for the single file CLI demo, right? So this is fine. No fraud detection or refund system implemented yet. So this is one of the limitations. So these are some of the limitations. These are some of the limitations, right? So this is fine. The next one will be going with the alternative algorithms and the trade-offs, right? After discussing limitations, let's move on with the alternative algorithms and trade-offs, the final one. So observer pattern. So we could have used the observer pattern for sending notifications post payment, right? So this one we could have done. The second one is making use of the state pattern. So we could have added the state pattern just to handle the multiple payment statuses, whether it may be pending, failed, refunded. This one we could have done by making use of the state pattern. So you can do it, right? So if you are making use of this one, if you're using anywhere, you can just make use of it, right? So we can just make use of the state pattern to handle multiple payment statuses, whether it may be pending, failed, or refunded. The third one here, um, integrating the real database, right? So we could have went with the SQLite or the Postgres for the persistence. That also we can do. So we can extend this one, no worries. So here we can just go with a, or we can just use asynchronous input output, right? Also known as async IO instead of threads for the high scalability. That also we can do. The final one is, so we can just integrate secure encryption and OAuth with the real gateways, right? Just for the production grade system, it's better to go with, or it's better to integrate this one, secure encryption and OAuth with the real gateways. Yep. So these are some of the alternative algorithms and the trade-offs that I wanted to discuss. Trade-offs in the sense summary, right? So this is fine. So we have successfully designed payment gateway integration, right? Accordingly with the criteria and the requirements that we collected. Yep. Along with the question. Yep. I hope this one, whatever we discussed, is completely clear along with the code, right? Along with the code that we have written. Now, next we will be designing this one, form validator utility, right? So for now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.